What is going on, everyone? It's Ultimate Spy 53 here, and welcome to another episode of Reviewed number 152. And today, I'm going to be reviewing the movie Inspector Gadget. So what did I think of Inspector Gadget? I liked it. I did. I thought it was good. I haven't seen it in a while, but it's still a fun movie, honestly. It has one of the most catchy theme songs ever. I mean, they took the original 80s theme song, which actually I had to look up. I'm like, is that the same thing? And apparently it is the exact same theme song, but just, remix it a little. And it's the theme song from Inspector Gadget, the original 80s cartoon. And they basically remixed it for this movie. And it's fantastic. It's so catchy. It's like, Inspector Gadget, Inspector Gadget. It's so catchy. I just love it. That's like it's like one of the best theme songs I've heard in terms of an actual song with lyrics. It's just so catchy. I just love it, and it's great. And that's one of the best parts of the movie is definitely the theme song, because it's so damn catchy. And obviously, one of the more unique things about this movie is that the Disney intro logo is very different, because if you think about the Pixar logos, all the ones they've had since Toy Story came out, they've been very distinct. And I know Incredibles 2 had its own little Incredibles themed Disney intro logo, but for this one it was a Inspector Gadget themed intro with like all the gears and whistles and gadgets and all this to make it look like it was, an Inspector Gadget movie, obviously. And so I thought it was interesting because I know Pixar, they have their own little unique Disney theme song, but also their intro, the CGI intro is very unique. It's a not your traditional Disney logo you'd see, but that's what's unique about Pixar movies, is they have that. And so for this movie, it had its own unique Disney logo intro, which is very cool because, for a Disney movie that did not do well, I mean, I think box office wise, it was pretty good. It came out in 1999. The same year as a lot of big movies like Star Wars 1. And honestly, it's a well-made movie, even though it wasn't a big success. It got pretty bad reviews, but I still liked it. I thought it was still very fun. Not the best movie I've seen from Disney, definitely not. But I still liked it because there's a lot of. I think this was like the 90s was when the Disney movies that were not animated really were a thing. Although there were animated ones too, but the Disney movies that were not animated, like they were live action, and they're having to be distributed by Disney, made by Disney. This is like when it came out, and this is one of them. So I like that. That was really cool. And one of the cool things about the beginning of the movie, which kind of reminded me of Doc Brown a little bit, not exactly the same, but it reminded me of that. The dad at the beginning of the movie kind of reminds me of Doc Brown, but also a mixture of the guy from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, because with the way he looks, with the glasses and everything like that, he looks like the rookie Morales or whatever you call it. I don't know how you say his name. I think he played the character of Wayne in How to Train the Kids. Same kind of idea, but it's the helmet is more similar to Doc. The big giant helmet thing he wore in Back to the Future, it just reminded me of that. It's not the exact same thing, but it just kind of, reminded me because they're both inventors. So it was interesting. And one of the craziest things about this movie is that the Gadgetmobile actually breaks the fourth wall. Managed to do that. And it was like, what? It happens at the very beginning of the movie. Well, I think it happens right as John Brown becomes Inspector Gadget. You have the Gadgetmobile saying, y'all, you have to make sure you have your seatbelt on. It's like, come on, this is a Disney movie, and it breaks the fourth wall because it lets you know, it's informing you that we're watching a Disney movie. It makes sense. That's like the fact that it does that, it totally breaks the fourth wall because it's unusual for that to happen. I don't know how often Disney movies do that where they break the fourth wall, but this is the first time I remember seeing a fourth wall break. It's very unusual for a Disney movie, but it was still cool to see that. It was like, funny little line of dialogue there. It was fun, and I like the Gadgetmobile. I like the fact that it had its own personality, and it was in control of things. And in fact, the end credit voiceover of Gadgets, he basically narrates what happened at the end of the movie. Like, I got married to the car I was chasing after. It's like, really? I just like the fact that the Gadgetmobile isn't just a car. It actually has personality. It actually does stuff, and it's very helpful. And it has emotion, and it's very human. but at the same time it's a car, so that's the cool thing about it. And one of the things that I noticed about the Gadget suit, I mean, I didn't watch the show. I've seen like a little bit of it, like a tiny bit of it, and the suit is inaccurate in the movie. The suit actually is supposed to be a trench coat in the animated 80s cartoon, and it's not in the movie. I mean, they can't be 100% accurate because they only have so much to work with the budget they had back in the 90s, but even then, it's not supposed to be a regular just suit jacket. In the movie, Matthew Broderick was playing Inspector Gadget, wears just a regular like cream colored long jacket, like suit jacket, and or I think probably more like a sports coat. And in the TV show, I mean, as far as I remember, because I've looked at images of the TV show, I never watched it, but I saw like little bits of it here and there. And apparently, it's a trench coat. It's a full trench coat. It's a I think it's actually a gray trench coat in the show, and in the movie, it's not. So I mean, it's not that big a deal, but it's like I just something I noticed about the movie was like, oh, it's weird. And one thing I noticed about the movie, it was really cool. It was like a lot of the movie was like this. It combines elements of 3 different franchises. One of which is actually dead. Well, it got rebooted as a Netflix show, but it's still dead. And that is James Bond, Mission Impossible, and Spy Kids. Spy Kids for the gadgets, James Bond for the, you know, the spy stuff. Actually, I'd say combining both Mission Impossible and James Bond together because it kind of it has a lot of the kind of the spy stuff in terms of what you see in Mission Impossible, and then the James Bond stuff is like going, you have all the high tech stuff and you know getting down in between things, all that stuff. And also I think that the James Bond, like a tiny bit of the James Bond theme plays, I'm pretty sure, but you know, so I guess most of that is supposed to be technically Mission Impossible. The James Bond stuff, I think is what I'm talking about is the villain Claw, who has a cat, and actually that's a reference to I think it's one of the biggest villains of James Bond. I can't remember his name. That's not Dr. No, or is it? I think it might be Dr. No. I don't know. Same kind of idea. And the Mission Impossible is just the kind of stunts, like the going down and getting all the gadgets and all that stuff. Basically, the gadgets. Spy Kids is just like the basically just the gadgets. So a lot of the same stuff in all 3 of those franchises. Spy Kids is unfortunately dead, except for the rebooted show, which I actually haven't seen yet, but eventually I will. And during the film, we are introduced to 2 characters that are basically opposites of the main characters in the movie. We have Inspector Gadget, who has a counterpart that is made by Claw, who is basically Robo Gadget or Evil Gadget, whatever you want to call it. Basically, the evil version of Gadget, also played by Matthew Broderick. He's basically the same character except evil, obviously, and he has white teeth, and he's very creepy, and it's very just bad. And we also have Robo Brenda, who's an evil counterpart to Brenda Bradford, who is the love interest of Inspector Gadget, who is this beautiful woman who basically is in charge of the Gadget program, basically. And so I honestly did not like Robo Brenda. She's like this weird laugh thing going on. It's like a glitch or something like that in the circuitry of the robot, and she's just annoying. You know, she's just outright annoying. I don't like her at all. I did not like her. I think she's meant to be like that, but no. She did not agree with me at all. I just did not like her. I think I'm not supposed to like her, but yeah. Robo Gadget, more insane, obviously, but yeah, that's all I can say about that. They just, you know, one is annoying, one is just plain out insane. And one of the cool little Easter eggs in the movie that was shown when Evil Gadget, or whatever we want to call him, is shown in the city, is that one of the people fleeing the city, who's Japanese, he's like, this is the reason why I left Tokyo. And that's actually a reference to Godzilla. The Godzilla character is obviously a Japanese character. And so the fact that he mentions that is really funny because the previous year, because this movie came out in 1999. In 1988, we have a Godzilla movie also starring Matthew Broderick, which is such a coincidence. So basically, it's mentioning that it's like a little Easter egg, and also like again, evil Gadget is basically being Godzilla with the roaring. Not the exact same roar as the new one, but that's supposed to mimic the 1988 Godzilla movie, which is not even that bad. I liked it considering I reviewed it, but it was cool Easter egg, like little, oh yeah, this is the reason why I left Tokyo, because Godzilla has destroyed Tokyo, basically. And it was a little reference because Matthew Broderick was in that movie too. It's cool, like a year before. It's just like what do you know? One thing I liked about this movie that was a recurring thing throughout the entire film was the transitions, like the blueprint transitions, like, you know, mainly like gears and stuff like that, but like they're showing like 3D blueprints of different parts of the Inspector Gadget, and also other stuff like that, all the random objects like a cocktail glass. But it was interesting because that kind of reminds me of how the Big Bang Theory does their transitions. They have every new scene, like the few seconds in between every new scene, there's always a transition of like I don't know, molecules or particles or whatever we call it in that show. So it kind of reminded me of that. I don't know if it borrowed it from the. I mean, I think it's pretty often you can see that in movies and shows like that. But this movie, it had that. And it was cool. I kind of liked it. It was a cool little thing that they added to have, you know, transition, like a little fun way thing to cut to. I just kind of liked it. It was cool. And one of the best parts, if not the best part of the movie, was the very end of the movie. We get different like post-credit scenes during the credits, and one of them is the coolest thing ever. Is that Drake or Sticks or Drake? I don't know how you pronounce his name. The minion to Claw in the movie. He goes to this minion, I think, recover group or something like that, and in the crowd is a bunch of minions of big villains from different media, like Oddjob and I think the dwarf from one of the Bond movies, and then Igor also, like that. So it was cool. But the best part of it was that Jaws, who's a big part of the James Bond film series, and you know, recurs as is basically a minion to the main villain. The actual actor who played Jaws in that movie series, like I don't know how many movies he's appeared. I think like maybe 5. Whatever Jaws appears in those movies, he actually made a return in a cameo role in that scene. So the actor who played Jaws in those movies, that's actually him. That's the actual actor who played Jaws, which is actually something I didn't know. I'm like, that guy looks familiar. I'm pretty sure that's the actual actor. I looked it up. Turns out he actually is the actual actor who played Jaws. That's just cool. That's just really cool. I like the fact that I mean, obviously they didn't get all the actors who played the original characters in those movies, but the fact that they got to bring in the guy who played the original Jaws in those Bond movies is such a cool thing. That's a cool Easter egg, and the fact that it's, you know, it's a minion resource group or cover group, whatever, is fantastic because you got all these minions from all sorts of films from the past. It's fantastic. I just think it's brilliant. The fact that they got the real Jaws actor, that's awesome. And like I said before, the fact that I never actually saw the original 80s cartoon show, Inspector Gadget, which is what this movie is based off of, I think loosely based off actually. They didn't get everything right, but when they mean loosely based off, that means they didn't get everything 100% right, but they tried. They tried to at least do their best to make sure it was as close to the original source material as possible. But apparently this movie was supposed to be like an origin story for Claw and Inspector Gadget, obviously, because it's like showing how they got their like with how Claw got his claw and how Inspector Gadget all got all his gadgets and how basically how he became Inspector Gadget. So it was cool that they did that. Now next week when I review Inspector Gadget 2, there's a lot of things I've got to say because that movie it completely changed everything. I'm pretty sure none of the original cast even came back, but I have seen it before and I want to see it again. And just even though it was apparently awful, I still want to give my thoughts on it because this movie scored 21% and I still liked it. I still liked it. It was still fun. It was still very enjoyable, and I mean, there's plenty of things that I can definitely compare to the original show if I had seen the show, you know, based off the images I've seen that are like, oh, that's not entirely accurate, but I still liked it. It was still fun, and that's amazing acting, and it was just, you know, overall really fun, and I like it. So that's really all I can say about Inspector Gadget. It's a fun movie, honestly. For its time, it was fun. 1999, it was a great lot of movies coming out that year, and Matthew Broderick did a great job in his role. Unfortunately, he didn't come back for the sequel, as we talk about next week, but I still like his performance, and I still think he was a good fit for Inspector Gadget, and I really did like the movie. It had some great music in it, it had some great actors, and, you know, I just think it was great. It had a lot of fun moments in it. I just really liked it, so that's really all I'm going to say about Inspector Gadget. It was still really good, and I really liked it, so because of that, I'm going to give it a 8 out of 10. I don't want to score like all the way 100% because it wasn't a perfect Disney movie. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. That's pretty much it. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this episode overviewed. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button. I really do appreciate support. And If you're new to this channel, subscribe for more episodes of this series and other series that I do, as well as other great content. Also make sure to click that bell to enable alerts so you don't miss my uploads, and I'll be back next time with another episode. Alright? See ya.